The highest is making house calls. Elder Mother made a deal with the devil, and Louis and George devise a new plan. Lacey needs to really try hard to hold this charade that her and Zane got going on together. She wanted to lead Elder Mother to think that she was going crazy. She told Elder Mother that she's the one who actually bought the glass of water in, or the moonshine, whichever one it is. Now, she also wanted to appease her on some level of understanding by saying that it was okay for her to drink a little moonshine on the job, you know. She said that things around the compound could really be stressful, so taking a little swig here and there to take the edge off was okay, and that she understood. Now, this is my review, my commentary, my breakdown of Tyler Perry's Ruthless Season 4, Episode number 8, titled An Eye for an Eye. I'm going to lay out all the details on what happened in this episode, and I'm going to share with you what I liked, what I didn't like, and how this episode fits into moving the season right along, or not. I can say that Lacey was convincing at first, and even Elder Mother believed her for a hot second and asked if Lacey thought that she was losing her mind, going crazy. She slapped Lacey for being a liar and a deserter. She got Lacey all the way back in line real quick, and then she walked out. Now, Ken and Bobbi, they now have Bill on the case to look for Andrew, who in their eyes is on the run. Now, Mac is on his way, but I'm not sure how much of a contribution he's going to be to this investigation, because he's being paid off by either the highest or Sheriff Conley. And I'm not sure why the FBI, they haven't put two and two together on knowing that Mac is crooked, but they haven't. Now, that age-old question of whose side Andrew is really on, it's going to continue to linger in our minds, because even the FBI can't figure him out. Even though Ken said that Andrew was gentle with Deputy Kate when he laid her down in the middle of the highway, Bobbi said, yeah, but he still hasn't checked in. So he's more than likely been converted, right? That's a clear indication. And I'm sure that Andrew has a really good reason as to why he hasn't checked in. We don't know the real reason yet, but I'm sure there's a good reason, right? Andrew has to be all kinds of crazy to not call for backup. And I don't know, maybe he feels that calling them in too early may do more harm than good. But I'm gonna need Andrew to go in and make some major moves so that we'll know which way his boat is sailing. I really don't have any more reasons or excuses for why he wants to do everything on his own. So Andrew, give us a sign. Blink 3 times for yes and 2 for no. Create some smoke signals. I don't know, send a message in a bottle, do something. I don't know. This is not going to be such an open and shut case after all, as we now have more questions than answers. But one answer that we do have that was raised in our roundtable discussion yesterday, well, a couple of days ago. Do y'all watch my lives? I'm a part of the Ruthless roundtable panel, and if you missed our lives that air each Wednesday at 8:05 p.m. right here on the channel, we posed the question of if we thought that Brian and Lynn's bodies were still in the back of the trunk. And we all concluded that the bodies were still in the trunk when he pushed it into the lake. And for me, the fire and the staging took place off camera, for one. And Andrew didn't seem tired at all from dragging in all that dead weight of 2 lifeless bodies inside of a house. Then he had to stage everything, set the house on fire. Like, we didn't see any evidence of this at all. None of this was in Andrew's demeanor at all, but nonetheless, it took place. And one of the agents who came in to deliver the news that the fire had taken place, he made sure that we saw his little gun, right, before he bounced off the scene. He told him that they had not identified the bodies yet, but y'all watch how he walks off the scene. Watch how he walks off. Like she had done something to him. All right, anyway, then we move on to Laura and Ruth. And Ruth is all in a panic because it's taking Elder Mother too long to come and make Lauren's special meal. So Lauren was like, I can cook for myself. But Ruth told her that the special meal has to be prepared by the hands of the Raku. Lord have mercy. So Ruth told Laura to wait in the kitchen so that she can go and find Elder Mother Supreme to make her a plate. So Ruth is all outside now, yelling, asking if anyone had seen Elder Mother. And who's sitting there listening, waiting? It's Aaron. He saw this as his opportunity to bust a move up in that kitchen and go in to get his woman, right? And in the meantime, we have old nasty ass Malcolm in the charge chair after he done messed on himself, spitting up into the air while the highest stepped in all joyous and happy. He's there to F with him, right? Dangling the magic all in his face and asking him if he wants some and asking him if he's detoxing and all the things. And what's really interesting to me is he and Daikon have that magic tucked away in them robes like it's a pack of chewing gum or something. They just randomly pull it out, right? But he told Malcolm that before he gives him any of it, he's got to get cleaned up first because he don't like odors. And Malcolm is begging for a hit of the magic, but the highest just walked away and left him there in his own fluids. Ew. So now the highest is sending Lewis to get the ladies, the cleanup crew, to come in and get Malcolm cleaned up. And in the meantime, he's going to step into the other trailer with Boy George here. And me and him and everybody else, we wanted to know why he was taking another man's punishment. And George gave off some lines about his parents teaching him to be a stand-up guy and that he's loyal to the highest and will give his life for him and all of this crap, right? And the highest said, okay, well, take your clothes off and turn around then. So he did just that. Tell me why George got on layered clothes in the middle of all this heat. He got on the uniform, a t-shirt, 2 wife beaters. The highest pulled out that old rusty crusty chain and beat him with it. He beat him up really bad. And these weren't light whips either. These whips actually broke his skin. It was disgusting. Me and the highest, we were amazed that George didn't flinch at all. Not once. And then he told the highest that he's already been broken for him. Then George told him that he deserves to be served in joy. And the highest loved this. He relished in it, so it wasn't more that he could do to him at this point. So he left George alone and went on about his day. And when he left the trailer, he called the highest a crazy mother tucker. And he had to put his shirt back on. But I'm like, wait, hold on. Not just yet. Hold on. Dang. All right. Oh, okay. All right. If you have to, just go ahead. And right here in this moment is when we have a plot twist. Kind of, because now we know that George may have an ulterior motive and why he came into the fold of the storyline the way that he did. River and Daikon, they're bonding over counting $100 bills, and River wants to know why Daikon didn't snitch on him. Remember when he was in the safe last season? And he simply told River that his time was running out and that Aaron was going to be the new boy toy of the highest. And River said that Aaron's not going to go for it. You know, River's already tried him a few times and Aaron won't budge. He then asked Daikon about the pleasure and the pain of being in bed with the highest and yada yada. But they ended with if River didn't leave while he was counting that money, that he was going to tell the highest that River stole the money. A bit of comic relief for us there. This scene was kind of funny. Now, old Crooked Mac finally made it into the station holding an envelope full of fake emails that were from Brian to Lynn about how he wanted to off himself because of the affair that she was having with Craighead Malcolm. They also discussed Andrew and trying to figure out why he assaulted an officer. And old Crooked Mac here was making excuses for Andrew. Can you believe it? He told him that Andrew may be under pressure from the compound and that he hasn't checked in weeks. Now, in this scene, they also touched on the highest and they talked about where he and Joan and Daikon were going when they were on the road, saying that he may be in a stolen car. Now, they really shouldn't even been having this conversation. They've got pictures of this man, then had meetings about this man, briefed the whole squad about the highest, been dreaming about him. Y'all know who he is and what he's about, right? But you see him on the streets and you let him ride right through the roadblock like he's a stranger in the night. Now you want to wonder where he's going. I have no more commentary for this scene, no more. Other than, why didn't you apprehend this man right then and there? Lord knows you got all the evidence and proof right there. You know, you've had it for months. So anyway, the highest is finishing up his house call rounds and he made his way back to the trailer that Malcolm was in. And the highest told the ladies that it smelled much better now that they had Malcolm all cleaned up. And I don't see how Malcolm was covered from the waist down in pee and poo and still got them same drawers on. So how is he smelling any better? I digress. So long story short on this stinky scene, the highest gave Malcolm what he had been waiting for, and he actually gave him more than what he should have, because if Malcolm survives a more than normal dosage of a good mix, then it'll be okay for him to take it. In the last episode, the highest made mention of a bad bag being laced with fentanyl, and we learn about this fentanyl lacing from the Oval, Ruthless's crossover show. And we know that too much of the heroin being laced with fentanyl would kill you. So we may start to see someone from the Oval in the next episode. Or I don't know, we only got 2 episodes left, so they better hurry up. Lewis caught up with George to see how it all went down in the punishment trailer. And that ain't the interesting part. I mean, he did tell Lewis that the highest whipped him and all with rusty chains, and that his back was hurting. But the more interesting part of this scene was that George and Lewis have devised a plan of their own to steal the money from the highest and then flee the camp. They decided that Manny may be a little iffy because he's starting to believe in the raccoon. So there's a big question mark on his head as to if they can trust him or not to go along with it, right? We learned that they need 2 men on the outside of the gate, 2 men inside the house with the money, and 1 driver. Lewis is concerned about, how they're going to get inside the house when the highest is always in there. And George thinks the only way to get inside the house to get the money is to F the highest. And Lewis looked at him like, Trigger, you do it. He letting him know that he is not the one. So he said that he's going to get River. And River is always down with the freaky deaky, right? So we'll just let him in on the deal. But they decided not to use River because he's a little bit too close to the highest. And little do they know, River is already on a cat burglar crew with Ruth and Joan. So George is going to go and have a talk with Manny to see if they can still count on him to follow through with their plan. Interesting turn of events here, guys. I'm telling you, money makes all kinds of people come out of the woodwork. The main people who you don't think know what's going on are the main ones paying attention and plotting. So now we move inside where all this money is being counted, right? And River said that all the money was accounted for down to the penny, but Daikon withheld a $100 bill to let him know how easy it was, how easy it is to steal money from the highest. But he held on to that $100 bill and he used it to bribe him with. The highest already told him that if 1 penny was missing, that River was going to go to the raccoon. So he told River that the highest was going to replace him, and River doesn't believe that it's going to happen. He told River to get out, and River thinks that Daikon is going to be the one who sneaks some of the money, which is one of my predictions from our live. So we'll see. When River left, he ran into Manny, who had all kinds of questions. He wanted to know what being enlightened meant, right? And River wanted to know why he wanted to know. So he told him about the whole raccoon mumbo jumbo, and that he feels that the raccoon was telling him to marry Zane. And River is taken aback by this because he knows that he's been violating Zane. And Manny said that he was simply doing what he saw all the other men do. So River had to put it to him straight, and he asked him how he felt about being bent over by the highest. He wants to know if there was any other way. So now he's backpedaling and he's having second thoughts. So River told him to stop asking to be enlightened and to stop asking for Zane. And the more he talked to Manny, the more upset River became, because it's almost as if Zane was like his little sister, right? He's playing big brother and had to protect her. He even tried to threaten Manny by telling him that he was going to let the highest know. But then Manny said, well, I'll tell him that you told me what being enlightened meant. And we all know that men are not supposed to talk about the enlightenments, right? Just like the women, they're not supposed to talk about their special assignments. And we learned this all the way back a few seasons ago when they were in the kitchen talking about it, when Tally was there and Melinda and all of them. So now we have Zane. She's out wandering in the yard, just aimlessly waiting on River to pop up, just pop out of nowhere. She told him that she saw Lacey and that she wanted Lacey to join them in their escape. But River thinks that Lacey's not well enough or strong enough to move fast enough to escape. So they both confirm that they're going to keep Lacey healthy and keep her a part of the plan anyway. She wanted to know where Elder Mother was so that she could go in to feed her. But River had a better suggestion. He said, well, why don't you just try to help Elder Mother instead of trying to, pull the wool over her eyes. Just try to help her so that you can have more opportunities to see Lacey. And then Manny walked up beside them and it scared Zane. But River told her that it's quite the opposite and that Manny was actually scared of her now. Ruth finally caught up with Elder Mother. She's sitting outside waiting on the highest so that she can snitch on Ruth. And Ruth is trying to remind her that she needs to feed Laura within 3 hours of taking the ritual. And of course, we know that Elder Mother's still mad. She's mad about when Manny came up to her telling that lie. Ruth told her that she's worse than a child because of the way she's acting. And when the highest came out, she told him that she wants to speak to him in private. So he excused Ruth, and Elder Mother began telling him about Lacey and that she's still alive. She told him that she wanted to keep Lacey, but the highest wants her dead. Then Elder Mother said, well, look, we can use her uterus to bear children, 7 of them. And the highest told her that if Lacey bucked again, that he wasn't going to spare Elder Mother no expense this time if she gets out of line. Elder Mother is desperate to have the highest children too. So there is no age limit, guys. This man has all the women on the compound wanting that Raku seed. She said that since she can't carry the children, that they can use Lacey to do it. Elder Mother is treating Lacey like she's a middle school science project. She's so gung-ho about taking control of Lacey's life. It's just kind of sad. So the highest told her that if Lacey got out of line, yet again, just one more time, that he was going to give Lacey the sword to kill Elder Mother. And in our final scene, Aaron made his way to the kitchen with his trifling wife. He told her that he needed to get her out of there and go home, but Laura is staring off into space talking about she has to eat and that her meal was on its way, and she refused to leave. She spoke to the highest as he entered the room. Aaron turned around and the highest asked him, what is he doing in there? What's going on in the kitchen? End scene. Now, what I liked about this episode was that the suspense with Andrew continues to thicken. We still don't know if he's been fully converted or if he's just playing along to get along, or even if he's been in with Mac from day one. Well, I don't know. We still don't know. And they did a really good job with this storyline because we have an underlying drama story unfolding within the main dramatic storyline, which is great. I mean, it's keeping my attention. And what I didn't like about this episode was the last minute plot twist of Manny, George, and Lewis. Although I appreciate the interesting turn of events to throw more suspense into the pot, I just wish that if they were going to keep these same 3 characters, that we should have been introduced to them a little sooner so that we could have known just a little bit about what their purpose was or what their motives were, right? I don't know. I just wish we could have gotten to meet them sooner. Introducing characters that we've never seen before, 3 episodes before the season ends, was just a little bit thrown off to me. And we didn't get to see those abs as much, or the tattoos as much, or the arms as much. So I didn't like that. No, I'm joking. But overall, you guys, it gets a thumbs up from me, and hopefully this video can get a thumbs up from you. If you like this video, go ahead and like the video. If you like the video, I'd appreciate it. And if you're a fan of Tyler Perry's Ruthless, go ahead and sub to this channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.